to school, but it takes me and my mommy 40. Every day we drive from Charles County to St. Mary's County. We drive down Butts Creek Road. Butts Creek Road takes us over Allen's Rush Run, which is the head of the Wacomico River. The Wacomico River is a natural border that separates Charles County from St. Mary's County. Mommy and I have been keeping a science journal. We write down the observations that we made when we were driving to school. Some of the things we discovered as fall was coming are a yellow flower called tickweed. Flowers blooms like crazy in September, and by October it's pretty much gone. Geese aren't around when school starts, but by the end of September they slowly start to appear again. The soybean fields turn yellow in September, and they start to brown in October.
In June, there were multiple herons spotted at Allen's Fresh, and by September, there only seemed to be one waiting in similar spots daily in the mornings. Our favorite indicators of the changing season are the geese.
I'm sure you recognize these guys.
The Canadian goose can be found in freshwater and grassland habitats. When you see them grazing together in a field, they're eating grasses, sedges, greens, and berries. They also eat aquatic vegetation, and they look kind of funny doing it. They use the serrated edge of their beaks to cut through tough stems. Females build nests out of grasses and twigs close to the water. Baby geese are called goslings. In the fall, when the goslings are strong enough, the family migrates in a flock south for the winter. Geese learn the migration route from their parents. This map shows their range, which means the geographical area where an animal lives in the world. This map shows their migration ranges. Geese live in family groups and migrate in flocks. This is an adaptation. Think of adaptations as a special skill that helps an animal to survive. Kind of like how I teach you to be organized, responsible, and a self-starter to help you survive the 3rd grade. Adaptations can be physical parts of the body, like their special beaks that help them to eat tough vegetation, or behavioral, like living in groups.
Here is my mommy's science question for you guys today. How does living in a group benefit geese? How does it help them to survive? You know my mom likes to teach you about evidence, so here are some of our observations that can help you draw conclusions. Observation 1. Geese often fly in a V formation. Why do you think this is? Think and discuss.
Geese migrate long distances to follow food sources. This requires a lot of energy. When we were on our Elms field trip, you learned all about the needs of birds when they migrate. You know that they need wetlands for pit stops along the way so that they can rest and eat. They also need to conserve energy. The V formation helps them to do this. Why do you think this is? Think and share. Make a conclusion in your science notebook. Each bird flies slightly above the bird in front of him. When the geese flap their wings, they create airflow behind them that helps to lift the geese flying in that area. Because that goose is mooching air from the goose in front of it, it doesn't have to work as hard to fly. The lead goose has to work the hardest. The geese will switch positions when the leader gets tired. In 2001, a scientist named Henry Weimerskirch placed heart rate monitors on pelicans. He was seeing how fast the birds' hearts were beating when they were flying. We know from PE class that when your body is working harder, your heart beats faster. He found that the pelicans in the back of the V had slower heart rates than the pelicans in the front of the V. So, we can conclude that geese who migrate in flocks in a V formation have a better chance of being able to survive the intense migration that needs to happen in order for them to find a food source.
Observation 2. In the spring, geese feed in large numbers in this field. Right now, it looks very different than in the spring. It goes from this to plowed to snow-covered, then it turns up brilliant green. We think farmers plant something to keep the soil in place. There is often a small group flying overhead honking, while many others peacefully graze on the field.
What benefits do they get from grazing in a field as a group? It's all about safety in numbers, and the fact that they migrate in flocks so that they can travel further without tiring as easily. The geese have a better chance of survival with more eyes looking out for predators in a large group. The small group overhead is on a scouting mission to check out the surrounding area and make sure there are no threats of danger. When one goose becomes ill in flight, 2 other geese will drop out of formation and stay with the weakened goose to protect it from predators until it can fly again.
Observation 3. A large flock of geese can be spotted throughout the winter at Lila and Ms. In the coldest part of the winter, the water freezes. The geese swim close together in one part of the marsh. This spot isn't frozen, when all of the water around it is. We ask ourselves, why isn't that spot frozen? Why are they always in that spot? How does it help them to survive?
We'll tell you what we concluded after you think for a moment and write an inference in your science notebook. We think that the geese huddle together to share body heat, and that together they create enough body heat to keep that small area of the marsh thawed, which allows them to still feed. 3.
Many other animals live in groups. Can you think of any? Whoa, we're almost at school. Lots to learn today. I hope you learn when animals live in groups, it helps them to survive. And that you practice drawing conclusions based on observations. Do you have observations or background knowledge to share about geese? Tell us. Mommy always eats her breakfast in the car because she's usually late to work.